in game we go to start to the bottom right hand side of the map. It is Abyssal Reef. It's a very standard one to get us rolling here today, well and truly. Again, sorry for the slow start, guys, just everyone getting things sorted out and things getting rolling, players showing up. There is some players playing offline for this event, so for example, I think Socke, some of the other German players are going to be playing offline, while the other players are playing online. So it's a bit of a mix. Again, this kind of tournament is focused around ZvP, fundraising a little bit for Home Story Cup, and that sort of idea. As we set up into this, guys, bottom right hand side is our Red Zerg from Team Liquid. It is Snute. To the upper left, our teal pros player is Socke. Last game was not a best of one, just it wasn't meant to be it just wasn't meant to be our main series that we're casting. Again, we've got the double setup today, so while we have this here, we do have that lobby of Settle versus Blue Cheese just starting up. But we're going to focus on Snute versus Socke. This was kind of our plan all along. We just went into that first game just to show you what was up and what was happening, just because it looked to be aggressive and looked to be playing out fairly quickly. So we do want to focus on this one, and we're just going to be seeing the gas pool opening up from Snute right now. He'd actually go hatch first down over towards his third base. So a little bit of an interesting one here. Yeah, imagine he just got blocked or so by a probe already, or maybe just wants to play some mind games as he sets up here in the early stages of game number 1. The Nexus first out of Socke. Gated to Nexus out of Socke. Nothing too crazy there then. So Gate Nexus Cybercore. And we're just going to be seeing how this goes. So Cybernaut X-Core coming on up. I'm just going to be seeing again everything just kind of building here in the first few moments. An Overlord on the way, a drone starts as well. Everything just getting rolling for now. And as the pool finishes up, obviously Queens, a few Lings, etc. can start to come on out here. And I mean, Socke has not actually still seen the base over to the side, but I guess at this point he's somewhat assuming it, as we do just see him continue building up here, probes finishing, and as the Cybercores finish, obviously Wolf getting an Adept. And we'll begin to see how exactly he wants to play this out. Does he want to go for that, kind of playstyle of a Stargate and into Oracle play? Is there something else he maybe is looking towards here in the next few moments? Again, looking to find out all of that as we continue this onwards in game number 1. Twilight Council is on the way up here from Socke to the top left hand side. So he's going to show us the kind of opening he wants to go for. Two main choices then, which is going to be Resonating Glaives or some sort of Dark Shrine based play. This does feel like Glaives. There doesn't seem to be the money for a Robo Facility and a Dark Shrine right now, and so a Glaives opening would make a lot more sense. Socke has still been playing SC2, albeit maybe not super competitively and not maybe a lot of offline tournaments, but he's been playing fairly regularly. He plays in some online things here and there, and on top of the online things, he definitely plays in ZvP events, for example. He usually is a part of Home Story Cup to some extent too. So this isn't just Socke showing up and sort of going for, oh hey guys, I'm just going to randomly return. He's kind of back, just plays a bit, maybe not completely full time, I'm not 100% sure. Dark Shrine coming down here from Socke. Has this Robo Facility on the way up in the natural expansion, so a little bit of an interesting opening. He is actually going to go for the Archon drops in the end. I really did think it was going to be Glaives, but I guess the way things turned out was a bit better than I'd initially seen it, as we do see the Lings cleaned up without being able to get a probe, but they get a full scout of the main base. So Snute knows exactly what's going on. It's the Lings on the low ground, which ended up getting a probe, and maybe 2 here the next moment or so. That probe is being chased, and it will go down. 2 workers killed. Again, something which Snute's going to be pretty happy with, because again, he's also seen exactly what's coming his way. He already sets up into a few more queens. He's going to be on 6 queens in total. His detection will have to be kind of Spore Crawler based, right? He's not got a lair, so he will have to put the Spore Crawlers down sooner rather than later, though. Sooner rather than later. And there it is, starting to come on down. So setting those up, needs them in all of his bases just to make sure he's got something. And of course needs to make sure he has the army as well to protect those bases. Probe comes on over to the third base in depth. Going to be moving over as well. First Prism is obviously moving through the center, though. This was only the 2 gateway version of this build, so only 2 DTs initially, but then the idea is you warp in 2 more for your next warp in. It basically allows you to take kind of extra bits and pieces a bit faster, because you haven't invested into a 3rd and 4th gate as quickly. The 3rd and 4th gate, which you don't necessarily need right from the get-go. Again, the 2 TT is going to move up in towards the natural, but there's Lings and Queens here to deflect this. It's a very well split up army from Snute. With the Zerglings, of course, as well, especially, he can run around between bases very quickly to get in position and to shut those down. As long as the Queens can protect the Spore Crawler long enough, and there's a few Lings to maybe help out, the rest will arrive whenever necessary. So far, Socke unable to really make the most of this beyond the, beyond the initial setup here, and I guess he'll probably... He's actually going to morph into the Archon on the high ground, which is a bit risky as those Lings were just around here. Obviously, if you're kind of morphing in Archons, you can't actually fight with them until they're finished morphing in, so it's a good opportunity for Lings to get us around and to get a lot of damage done. Snute backed away, though. He wasn't going to mess around and lose Zerglings to DTs, so he backed away, and he let Socke kind of get away with just warping those Archons. I mean, it wasn't like it was super crazy greedy or something. It's just one of those things where maybe if Snute had poked forwards again, he could maybe get one of those Archons very low from the get-go and just slow Socke down. Scout and Zerglings don't see a lot. You see the Archon starting to drop on down, and we'll see the first Queen starting to pull back here. He doesn't drop just yet, and a little bit of micro out of Snute means that he's not lost anything other than a couple of Zerglings. Now, 2 Zealots going to warp in. We're still only on 2 gateways here, so there's not a lot of units coming in at every point in time. There's going to see Ling Bane coming on forwards, and as those Banes continue to go down and get used up, we actually see one of the Archons getting picked off as well. So an Archon goes down, the Zealot's going down too, and Snute so far with a very solid defense, as we're going to be seeing this Warp Prism coming back towards the top side. So a little bit of an interesting few moments there as we see a whole bunch more Zerglings coming out yet again. Bane in speed on the way up from Snute, as well as that Muscle augments for the Hydralisks going into that Ling Bane Hydra. As you could expect, very normal way to play as we see Creep Tumor again picked up. Just getting guaranteed damage. I mean, what you're going to get for sure, the Creep Tumor or the Hatchery? Well, probably the Creep Tumor. And that's exactly what we see there. A good little bit of something from Socke just to pick up what he can and to realize what he can, definitely do damage in. I mean, slowing down the creep is nice, if not, game changing in a massive way. It's still something which over time definitely does add up if you can keep doing it. Problem is he probably can't keep doing it. Just because he doesn't have that much to really keep doing it with. It's not like ZvT where you always have those drops around pushing forwards and scanning, pushing creep back and then being able to lift and get away. It's a little more difficult as the Protoss player. You don't have quite as mobile a setup of units to just keep clean creeping to pushing it back as easily as the Terran player might in their matchup. A couple of Sentries, Immortals, Zealots and a Stalker are collecting together and looking to maybe march around the right hand side of the map to kind of catch Snute off guard. These Lings have continued to run on in and try and do damage time and time again. Every time there's just been an overcharge popped, and this time will be no different. As Zerglings force back, but it just keeps the Mothership Core on that position, which is still something as well. The Archons and the Warp Prism now going to sweep on over to the right hand side. It looks as though we're going to have this little bit of a switch up here, with some Zealots going to hit one of the bases, maybe the natural, while the main army goes in towards the third. Archons might even drop on the fourth base, and we are going to see him starting to do some damage here. Again, the Zealots moving into the natural in the next few moments. Snute begins to respond to this, already bringing a couple of Lings and a Hydra over. Queens are here as well for some transfusions, and we'll see how this continues. Again, main army now gathering together. Will be the third base that looks to hit him. Warp Prism gets away without too much trouble. This harassment is going to be cleaned up. A couple of Queens will go down, but well, the main fight's over here, and that's where the army of the Protoss players starting to charge on in. Hydras are pulling back. Banes are going to be finishing in a moment or two. We actually see one Archon already goes down. And oh no, the Warp Prism. If you get the Warp Prism, the Warp Pins are cancelled. These units have no micro potential anymore, and these Hydras will just overrun. Snute with a little bit too much here, and he cleans up absolutely everything. That harassment in the natural was dealt with just by the Queens as well. Very well done. And yeah, you're going to see Snute coming back up the left-hand side. He's actually going to start working his way through these rocks. So getting his way through these rocks, opening up another pathway and in towards the third base just to kind of counter-attack and to kill here in the next few moments. Hydras continue to push on forwards. Those rocks are going to go down. And again, this should be a push forwards that Socke will very much so struggle to deal with, just based on the way that Snute has been trading so well so far. Has been taking all the fights that he needs. And there's a Mothership Core here. There's going to be pylons perhaps, but I mean, even just Banes crashing into those could help a lot, as we're going to see a few Banes leading the charge. Gets quite a lot of those Zards very low already. Those Zerglings are going to chase on in. They're going to fight the pylons. The Hydras are here to back up in the back as well. And, I mean, what else do you do really as Socke now? I mean, you've got all your overcharges popped, and it still isn't even going to matter. You just don't even begin to have the damage output you need to stop this Zerg army from just pushing on through to victory. Hydra's just being allowed to kind of do their thing. The Zerglings are like it, pulling away from the Archon to minimize the damage. It will be GG. Snute picks up game number 1. To game number 3. Game number 2, sorry, of this. Again, I appreciate it's there. I think it's a little bit better now. Like, I've turned my Windows levels down and put my actual mic volume up on my setting. So it should get rid of any sort of that background noise that's maybe coming through from that. So hopefully that's a little bit better. I can maybe even put it down a bit further if it's still kind of there a lot. Again, it's kind of just a bit of a make fix, you know, like a bit of a on-the-fly fix for now. It's something that I am looking into, but it's a bit of a weird one. As mentioned, I've been pretty... Well, I've just not been at home for a week, and it was about, like... It's just been so busy, actually. Let's introduce these players. Top left-hand side, Team Liquid Snute, and obviously bottom right-hand side is the blue Protoss player, Socke. So, yeah, it's obviously been very busy, because originally I was... the last month or so has just been so hectic. Like, I've been casting a lot in general. Then I had the map tournament to set up and run, and then obviously I cast the map tournament every day, and some days we had double casts, etc. So we had all of that going down. And as we had all of that... Obviously, I was preparing to go away to take my stand as well for my Asian Indoor Martial Arts casting. So I went and did that, and it's just been like non-stop for the last month or so. And it was about a week and a half ago where people started mentioning this kind of staticky noise. So people started mentioning it, so I tried to fix it where possible. And yeah, I mean, I tried, but like again, it's kind of difficult when you haven't had much time. So we'll try and get onto it soon. Anyways, for now. There's going to be seeing link speed on the way up, getting ready to go. And there's going to be seeing a couple of probes on the way out right now from Socke. So a couple of probes coming on through here. I'm just waiting to see what's going to be next. There's a depth coming down the left-hand side. Just having a little bit of a scout here in the early stages. Third Nexus coming down very early. So that's going to be Socke's play this time around. He's going to go into the third Nexus of just one gateway. And he's going to follow up with the Robo facility here to block off the wall. Let's see if his Zergling's going to run on over, and that probe already going to take a little bit more damage. In fact, probe does go down. It's a nice pickup there on the probe. I'm just going to be seeing the Zerglings. Not going to be able to find too much more here from Snute, but he does see the third Nexus, and so he already kind of has a good idea of what this is going to be. Let's see how Snute tries to play this then. He's up on the free hatchery, and we'll see if he can... well, we'll see what setup he's going to use here, continuing forwards. Do let us know who you're cheering on in this series or in this group, by the way. Whether you're going to be cheering on Snute or Socke, or maybe you're going to be cheering on DNS or Zanster, who are in this group as well. Group A, of course, taking place right now. Settle versus Blue Cheese, and Patience versus Raynor are the initial matches out of Group A. Those are actually some very cool matches as well, so that's going to be happening too as we continue on through this. These two adepts going to shade forwards and then going to be cancelling themselves. And again, just continue to set up and see where we go from this point on. So I'm going to take the left-hand watchtower. The two adepts here from Socke continue to move on up the left-hand side, but again, not really finding anything just yet. Baliness on the way down, about halfway done. Lair is also about to finish up. Snute looking fairly standard so far, ready to go into Bane speed and Hydrogen most likely in the near future. Forge comes down from Socke as he just sets up, obviously, off of this, well, Immortal build-up. He actually built this one Immortal though, and now he's going into a Warp Prism, and well, maybe that's a sign of aggression. You know, the Warp Prism obviously can be very aggressive usually, but I guess with the Forge and Twilight coming up, it's not like he's going to fully commit to this or anything. He just wants to get some presence on the map, because so far, he hasn't had any presence on the map, and if you let the Zerg just get away with doing what they want, it can become very tough for you. I mean, you think about how these games usually go. You know, usually you open with a Stargate, that gives you an Oracle to have presence on the map with, or Phoenix. You open with a Twilight, and you either have Adepts on the map, or you have DTs and Archons on the map. For this fast freebase sort of play, he doesn't have anything on the map to work with right now, so the Warp Prism does give him that opportunity. He will pitch forwards with this kind of main army. It's not a lot of army though, and I think he's going to have to be very careful, because Snute has been setting up with a lot of units for the past few moments, and that's why he hasn't been drawn up super heavily. And so Socke, as he pushes forwards, doesn't actually need to push forwards here. Snute's already slowed down his work count to make enough units, as we see him coming forwards, and Socke, well, again, the reality is he doesn't really want to commit to this, because he knows for a fact himself that he's got charge on the way up, +1 on the way up. It doesn't make sense for him to have invested into those upgrades, and to try and then fight without them, that's only going to go badly for him. So, again, that should be something he knows, as we're going to be seeing these units moving back home. Warp Prism coming back as well, going to actually lift up some of the Adepts, and some Zealots, and just look to harass in general. So I did like this. Again, it's just one of those move outs which just checks you're going to be able to force the Zerg into some units. The thing is here though, Snute is still just making pure units. No Evo Chamber for an upgrade, melee or missiles. And we just see, well, Baden Speed has finished up, Musco Augments is about to finish up. There's a +1 missiles now, but it feels though because he's cutting at 51 drones, he is just going to be getting very aggressive very soon. Warp Prism towards the main, already Queens are beginning to move out to respond, and now the main army will move onto the map as well. Knowing that the Prism's over here, obviously doesn't feel afraid of the potential kind of attacks of his opponents. You are going to see the Prism going down though, so gets rid of that potential harassment. gets rid of what he has to worry about on the map. Now Snute should be able to defend this. A spine crawl on the main base as well. Some nice static defense investment, which is going to pay off for him. In the meantime, he comes forwards at the front, and already Lings are getting quite surrounded. Hydras are starting to deal some damage. There's some force fields to block out the banelings, but they are going to eventually start making their way through into the mineral line, and all sorts of these probes are going to start going down all over the shop. Already 7 workers killed, and so many of them on low HP. Obviously, they'll get chased down rather easily. These Banes actually continuing to do the job for now. 21 workers down, and these Zerglings and Hydras continue to do what is left. As we're going to be seeing the, well, a few Zealots charging forwards will be able to do a good job. In fact, they'll clean out quite a few of these Hydras. Moving around, we will see them getting cleaned up though still, and as reinforcing Zerglings arrive, it might just be a little bit too much. Some Zealots on the third base are definitely going to be a nuisance, but they're not going to be something that's realistically going to bring Socke back into this game. As Snute just looking so good right now in game number 2. GG, and that will be that. And actually, just as this happened, Cyril has just picked up a victory in game number 3 of his series to win that as well. If you give me a quick moment here, guys, I can show you the last few seconds of Cyril versus Blue Cheese, so I don't redo that, and just show you how this game finished up just a few moments ago. So basically, some Lings ran by, an army in the middle of the map starts to get cleaned up as well. Cyril just pushing on through, and well, units from every side playing that Lingbane Hydra once again. And as you can see, Blue Cheese trying to reinforce in towards the center here, but losing all of his economy on the third base, losing this army in the center, and as he cannot stay in the game, as that's going to be GG. So that